Guinea, I'm told they're joining virtually. Nigeria, please. Liberia. The last but not the least, Sierra Leone. Very distinguished delegates, we welcome you to this 18th plenary and the Council of Ministers here in Nigeria, Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. We must find a way to gain a tailwind because a lot of time is being spent. You kindly join me at this juncture for the critical technical session to invite first and foremost our chief host, the DG of the Civil Aviation Nigeria, Captain Chris Najomo, upstage. A warm round of applause for him, please. As he's coming, let me equally invite the head of the BAC Secretariat, our amiable DG Gambia, Ambassador Fansu Bojang. And the moment they are seated, we'll yield all of the sessions to them to drive the ship of state. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let's celebrate them again with another warm round of applause. So if you're with your program, we're taxing from the election of meeting Bureau, adoption of a provisional agenda, and we'll flow us through to the end of the day. So we'll start now.
It's afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you back to this session. I'm sure we're all settled from the tea break, and we're going to go back right into business. At this stage, since we're behind time, I'm just going to go straight and hand over to our chair to carry on with the proceedings as we get along. Chair, over to you. Yeah, just go ahead with the sec. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, DG Nigeria. Also like to welcome all of you to the formal commencement of the plenary. As mentioned, we'll first start with the election of the meeting bureau, and I would like to invite nominations from the states. Sierra Leone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sierra Leone nominates the whole state of the Secretariat, the Gambia, to be supported by the capable hands of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay, thank you, Sierra Leone. So any other nominations?
Good afternoon, Chair. Nigeria would nominate Ghana to be part of the meeting bureau. Thank you.
Nigeria nominates Ghana. Any other nominations? Okay. In the absence of any additional nominations, could we have a motion to endorse or adopt these nominations to the Bureau? Nigeria.
Nigeria raised the motion to adopt. Thank you.
Okay, Nigeria has put up the motion to adopt. Gambia?
Thank you. Gambia seconds the motion for Nigeria to be the Mission Bureau. Thank you.
Thank you. The motion is therefore so adopted. The next stage is for the adoption of the provisional agenda of the meeting bureau. I think all the states had copies. If the IT guys can put this up on the screen so that we can go through it and for any possible amendments or comments before we put it up for adoption, please. Okay. Thank you. I see the provisional agenda is now on display for all to look at. We'll now invite any state that have any comment to raise their hands and put forward their comments, please. Any comments from the states on the provisional agenda? If no comment, I will invite motion for adoption of the provisional agenda, please.
Ghana moves for the adoption of this provisional agenda. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ghana. Ghana moves for the adoption of the agenda. Any secondment? Cape Verde?
Cape Verde seconded the proposal of the adoption of the agenda.
Okay, Ghana moves and Cape Verde seconds. The agenda is so adopted.
Okay, next is we go into the summary of the discussions and resolutions of the 17th plenary session. And this will be carried out by the BAD Secretariat.
Thank you, Chairman, for giving the Secretariat the floor to present the conclusions of the 17th plenary held in Accra, Ghana. On behalf of the BANJUL Court Group Secretariat, I have the honor to present the Secretariat report to the 18th plenary of the group. The Secretariat is responsible for the administrative and financial functions of the group, as well as monitoring and implementation of the BAC agreement, among others. You will recall that since the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding establishing BAC in Banjul in 1997, the subsequent signing of the BAC agreement in 2004, the Gambia has been serving as the Secretariat of the group And this function is being performed for the state by the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority. However, this agreement will soon be a thing of the past with the imminent institutionalization of the Secretariat. Institutionalization of this BAC Secretariat at the 17th plenary held in Ghana in July 2023, it was agreed to institutionalize the Secretariat. A high-level committee was therefore set up comprising of members from BAC states, with the exception of Guinea, to look into this. The HLC was chaired by Floyd Alex Davis, Deputy Director General Administration from Sierra Leone Civil Aviation Authority. On behalf of the member states, I wish to thank Mr. Davis and team for taking on this critical assignment. The Secretariat coordinated the activities and meetings of the HLC and provided secretarial services in line with its functions. The HLC has completed its work and will present its reports to the plenary for consideration and adoption. Without preempting the report, I am pleased to inform you that the committee reviewed the BAC business plan and proposed an organogram for the Secretariat as well as funding mechanism. These issues will be discussed at length when the team presents its report later in the day. Review of legal instruments. The BAC Committee of Legal Experts, under the chairpersonship of Mrs. Mary Tufano Iche, has reviewed the legal instruments of BAC, Bagaso, and Bagaya to bring them in line with the current realities of the institutions. Just like it did for the HLC, the Secretariat also coordinated the activities and meetings of the BAC CLE and provided secretarial services. The instruments have been revised to incorporate the air transport function of the Secretariat, the addition of aviation security function to Bagaso, and the proposed expansion of membership for Bagaya, amongst a host of other important issues which will be brought to the fore during the presentation of the committee's report. At this juncture, I wish to thank Ghana for graciously hosting 2 meetings of the HLC and BAC CLE in November 2024 and February 2025. Without these meetings, these committees would not have completed their tasks. As a result, we are grateful to Ghana CAA and the Ghana Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. MSA between ICAO and BAC. In accordance with the management service agreement signed between ICAO and BAC states for the operationalization of BANJUL Accord Group Accident Investigation Agency, the Secretariat continued to be the focal point for contractual matters for the duration of the project. We are grateful to ICAO for its support and wish to recognize WACAF Office commitment to the success of BAC and its regional organizations. However, it must be noted that Bagaya is at serious crossroads in terms of funding difficulties, and member states must endeavor to remit their contributions to the organizations. It is our hope that the sustainable funding proposals to be presented in Day 2 will solve this chronic and long-standing issue once and for all. SATIM implementation, the BAC Secretariat has been collaborating with AFCAC for the accelerated liberalization of air transport in the sub-region through SATIM. In 2024, AFCAC staged 2 SATIM PIP roadshows in the Gambia and Sierra Leone to hammer home the message of full and unfettered implementation of SATIM by the governments and collaboration between key stakeholders in the implementation drive. During the Sierra Leone Air Show, a joint communique was signed by the Honorable Minister of Transport of Sierra Leone, the Secretary General of AFCAC, and myself on behalf of the group containing key resolutions. The communique will be presented to plenary as the agenda item later today. On behalf of the BAC family, I wish to thank profoundly the indefatigable Secretary General of FAFCAC for her leadership and proactive commitment to the implementation of SATIM by BAC states. Her relentless drive to liberalize, especially the BAC massa, is highly commendable. And the crowning moment will be the domestication of air services among our states, which must be our overriding priority going forward. On challenges, members will recall that at the 17th plenary, it was agreed to states to identify focal points to ease correspondence between the Secretariat or with the Secretariat. However, this has not improved the situation, as the lack of response from states to communications sent by the Secretariats continues to be an issue. I wish to implore my colleagues and other CEOs present here to ensure that communication becomes seamless within the BAC family. Another challenge is Guinea's lack of participation in the affairs of BAC and its organizations. In the spirit of no country left behind, we must continue to work with the state to address its concern, if any, and rekindle its interests once again. In conclusion, members of the Secretariat join me in extending appreciation to partners for the continued support as we strive to provide safe, secure, efficient, and reliable air transport industry in the BAC region and beyond. Thank you, Chairman. At this juncture, I'll invite the Finance Director to report or present the financial report of the group.
Okay, before the report, I have seen clearly in your report there that two key things that are noted here are challenges, which has to do with communication. It's important and imperative that we must try and communicate with each other to make it a seamless exercise. And of course, participation is key, as like he said, the mantra of no country left behind should be seen as one of our priorities to be able to be seamless. So I urge all member states to make sure they participate, and apart from that, make sure that communication is key so that we get to do what we get to do to move this forward. So over to the financial report.
Thank you, DG. The summary of the financial report of BAC Secretariat. The report highlights the financial activities of the group for the period 2023 to date. BAC is a non-profit entity whose funds are derived entirely from member states' contributions. The accounting convention used in the preparation of the financial statement is on a cash accounting basis, as funds are recognized as resources or revenue in the period in which they are received, whilst expenditure is recognized on the disbursements of cash. BAC operates two United States dollar accounts maintained at Trust Bank Gambia Limited. Member states remit their contributions to these accounts, which are used to fund activities of the group / the Secretariat. The financial activities of the group were non-existent during the period under review. During the period, no contributions were received from a state. The last contribution received were in 2017, with the Gambia and Liberia contributing $9,000 and $15,000 respectively. The total balance of funds available for both accounts as of 31st December 2024 was $6,018.57. Then we have a schedule of contributions owed by states. Cabo Verde, arrears up to 2024 was $180,000, current year contribution of 2025, $15,000. Gambia, Arrears up to 2024 was $126,000. Current year of 2025, $15,000. Ghana. Arrears up to 2024 was $165,000. Current year of 2025. Current year of 2025, $15,000. Guinea. Arrears up to 2024 was $255,000. Current year, $15,000. Liberia. Arrears up to 2024 was $120,000. Current year, $15,000. Nigeria. Arrears up to 2024 was $225,000. Current year is $15,000. Sierra Leone. Arrears up to 2024 was $255,000. Current year, $15,000. Total arrears up to 2024 was $1,326,000, and for 2025, $105,000. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Madam. That's the financial report. Invariably, everybody is in arrears. I urge more member states to do the needful if we have to chart the way forward. And I know sometimes there's a glitch in transmission because I'm aware that some other people, I think the statement of Nigeria, I think we've done the payment. DFA, is DFA here? My DFA here? Okay, it's not here. So that is the financial report that we've heard, clearly. And any consideration or discussion in this matter, please? The states have been mentioned. I don't want to go through it again. Everybody's here has been mentioned, and everybody, Cape Verde, the Gambian, Ghana, Guinea, Liberia, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone, we're all in arrears as of 2024. Nigeria, please.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Listening to the reports on the financials and considering that this meeting, which is aimed at institutionalizing the bag, also requires finances, I would just think that if these arrears, which was based on what states committed to have been doing, can be paid up, it will be a good way to even kickstart this organization on the platform that we're thinking, just our thinking, sir. So with that, Nigeria would like to encourage all member states whom from these reports seem to be guilty, everyone is in arrears. As we are seated in this room, if we can encourage ourselves, to put together these funds before the organization starts even running on the basis of what the ministers will adopt, it will be a very comfortable, platform. Our humble submission, please. Thank you.
Any other? When it comes to money now, I'm not seeing any discussion. I'm still patiently waiting for anybody to contribute to this financial report that has been laid down to us, like what Nigeria's position is, and I agree and I accept that, of course, if we try and see if we can redeem this these areas, it will put us in a very better platform and way forward. The institutionalization of this bag that we have come here to come and do. Okay. The message is clear. You will do the needful when you get back, isn't it? Let's go forward. At this stage will invite AFCAC to come and give us the report on SATAM. The implementation of SATAM in the back states. AFCAC, please.
Distinguished DGs and delegates to this meeting, permit me to stand on the already established protocol, and I'm aware that I'm standing between you and lunch, so I'm not going to take a lot of your time. So I'm going to be presenting to you why it is important to fast-track SATAM implementation in the back states. A lot have been said from the remarks of the Honorable Minister, the SG of AFCAC, and other interventions that we have heard concerning the necessity to implement the single African air transport market within the BANJUL Accord group of states. Next slide, please. But for the benefits of those that are not very much conversant with what we do in AFCAC, it is important to know who AFCAC is. As you may know, AFCAC is the specialized agency of the African Union on all civil aviation matters on the African continent. AFCAC is also the executing agency of the Yamoussoukro, as well as the single African air transport market. We have our vision, and we also have our mission, which is, amongst others, to foster a safe, secure, efficient, cost-effective, sustainable, and environmentally friendly civil aviation in African continent. Next slide, please. We also have our strategic priorities, some of the core areas we deal in AFCAC. Particularly, we have air transport, and here we talk about the implementation of the single African air transport market as well as the YD. And we also handle areas like safety, security, human resource development, as well as environmental protection. Next slide, please. But it is also important for us to ask ourselves that when we talk about the single African air transport market, what are we talking about, really? The single African air transport market, SATAM, as you may wish to recall, was established in the year 2018 by the African heads of states. And SATAM seeks to establish a single air transport market that is fully liberalized and that can contribute to economic integration within the African continent. And how do we achieve that? We achieve that through the full implementation of the Yamoussoukro decision. And what is Yamoussoukro decision? The Yamoussoukro decision of 1999, as we may all know, seeks to liberalize the intra-African air transport market in terms of traffic rights exchanges from first to fifth freedom traffic rights. It tends to remove restrictions on capacity, on designation, on frequencies, as well as on designation and authorization. It also tends to create a conducive environment for the development and protection of the reliable air transportation within the African continent as well as eliminating all obstacles, and also to protect the users of air transport services within Africa. Next slide, please. So, and as you can see, if it comes to liberalization within the context of Africa, you can see from the slides that in West Africa, we have been very, very proactive. West Africa is leading in terms of granting of traffic rights up to the fifth freedom when compared to the other regions within Africa. But yet, there are challenges, and that is why we are here to talk about it. Next slide, please. If you look at the BANJUL Accord Group, as you all can see, was established in 2004. And it intends to create a liberalized intra-Africa, intra-sub-regional air transport traffic within the sub-region. And as has been mentioned, a lot of progress has been made, but somehow we are still stalled, with progress due to other competing needs, because we know there are safety needs, security needs, and so on and so forth. And as you may also recall, the BAC group of states came together in 2004 and signed this agreement, which predates the SATEM itself. But ever since the BAC agreement came on board, SATEM has been established in 2018. And SATEM has a continental outlook when compared to what we are doing within the sub-region. And that is why it is very important to have a strategic recalibration in order to align what we are doing within the BANJUL Accord Group of States to align with the continental program of the Single African Air Transport Market, which is an AU Agenda 2063, is part of the AU Agenda 2063. Next slide, please. Now, if you look at the BAC states, in order for us to understand how strategic and important it is, we have a population of over 295 million people. This is comparable to the East African community, which is about 331 million people. And it is more than 50% of the entire population of the ECOWAS region, which is about 447 million people. And as a whole, on the African continent, it's about 1.4 billion people. So it's a very strategic sub-region, 295 million people. If you take the whole of the EU countries, the 27 countries, just a little over 450 million people. So if we have a very huge population within these 7 countries that we can take advantage of. Next slide, please. So as you can see, we have about 25 airlines operating within the sub-region and about 96 airports. But yet, we have some coverage gaps as well as key challenges in terms of some states not having local airlines maybe operating within those states, and we also have limited capacity. We have financial stability regarding the airlines. Next slide, please. You can also see the traffic between and within the sub-region. I think that the highest traffic is between Lagos, Accra, Vivi, followed by Accra, Roberts, Vivi, and so on and so forth. But if you look at the level of the air traffic between and within the sub-region, you cannot see within any countries that is up to 1 million. The highest you can see in 2019 was just below 600,000 for a population of 295 million. So we still have a chunk of people that are not using air transport within this sub-region, which also presents an opportunity for us to see how we can bring on board a lot of traffic within this sub-region. Next slide, please. And if you compare the regulatory frameworks of SATEM and the BAG, you can see that in terms of the scope, SATEM has a continental outlook, while the BAG regulatory framework is amongst the 7 states that have come together under the framework. And in terms of the legal framework, we have the Yamoussoukro decisions for the Single African Air Transport Market, SATEM, while within the BAG we have the agreement, amongst the ministerial agreement, as we were told earlier, we have the ministerial agreement, And in terms of the regulatory body, we have AFCAC as the executing agency of the single African air transport market with all the regulatory frameworks in place. We have the institutional regulation, we have the competition regulation, we have the consumer protection regulation, and also the recently established dispute settlement mechanism. But if you look at the Banjul Accord group of states, what we have is the BAC Secretariat and working with partner states with little capacity for monitoring as well as ensuring compliance amongst the member states. So, and if you look at in terms of integration, the certain framework is aligned with other AU Agenda 2063, such as the African Continental Free Trade Area, as well as the Free Movement of People Protocol, while there's limited synergy with AU frameworks under the Banjul Accord group of states framework. Next slide, please. What are the challenges? It has been mentioned over and over again. We have fragmented regulations, every state holding on to what they have at that state level, slow policy implementation, limited capacity to ensure compliance amongst the member states, and also we have lack of the group strategy, that can ensure that you have a regional airline development plan, as well as poor limited synergy in terms of when it comes to the continental outlook, as part of the objective of the BAC Secretariat. Next slide, please. But why we are here today is that as AFCAC, we are fully committed to our integrated continental agenda to promote air transport as a lifeline for all the member states of the continent, and we're also here to support in terms of programs to strengthen aviation capabilities across all the member states. We have the tools working with other international organizations like ICAO to support in terms of tools, and also building expertise to support the capabilities of member states. That has also been emphasized in the remarks presented by the Secretary General of AFCAC. Next slide, please. Now, why are we saying that we need to fast-track the implementation of certain? Because the benefits are inherent. It is no longer rhetorics. When we, as a continent, decide to implement certain, we stand to generate additional 4.2 billion in terms of GDP, as well as also contribute to new jobs creation of over about 600,000. And we are also being told over and over through a study, which you can see on the slide, continental study on the benefits of SATEM and communication strategy, that fares are likely to drop by about 26%, and also the consumers are likely to have savings of over 1.4 billion USD annually, as well as increment in terms of traffic of up to about 15.6, about 16 million additional traffics that will be generated across the continent of Africa. Next slide, please. So as you can see, every country, if we decide to fully liberalize our air transport system, is going to benefit in terms of the growth in traffic. I think you can locate the country there in terms of the numbers of traffic that is likely to be generated when we fully commit to liberalizing our air transport market across the African continent. Next slide, please. So, an urgent action is required as a subgroup, sub-regional group. We need to fully ensure that we domesticate the Yamoussoukro decision. We need to fully ensure that we operationalize the multilateral agreement that is being used already within the sub-regional group. And in that case, we will be able to ensure that we remove all the restrictions that will allow all our airlines to be able to operate freely without restriction across the member states of this sub-regional group. We also need to establish implementation task force because of the lack of capability of the Secretariat to ensure monitoring and compliance. And this will enable us to track progress and also see how we resolve any issues or bottlenecks that may arise in the implementation of the targets which we may have set. And we also need to promote regional partnerships so that we can encourage more airlines, encourage trade, and promote businesses across our regions so that we'll be able to achieve the targets we want to achieve. Next slide, please. So in conclusion, we would like to urge BAC states to create a single sub-regional market. What that means is that we need to turn our market into a domestic operation, because that is the only way we will be able to achieve the benefits of full liberalization. And you can take a cue from Europe. Today in Europe, you can buy a ticket moving either from Spain to France for about 50 euro or 100 euro or less, depending on the time you make your reservation. But today, even traveling between Lagos and Accra, the last time I checked was about $600, which is a lot of money for a 45 minutes flying time. So we can do a lot to move our people from the road, and also to add other people who ordinarily would not have wanted to travel within our safe region by ensuring that we have affordable tickets that will enable our people to travel. We also need to harmonize and adopt common policies on taxes, fees, and charges, which is one of the issues that is not making air transport accessible and affordable as well to members of this of the BANJUL Accord group. We need to domesticate all the legal instruments of the Yamoussoukro decision in terms of the consumer protection as well as the competition rules which have already been established at the continental level. And we also need to improve the economic capabilities of our member states through the efforts of AFCAC that has already developed the template African Economic Regulation, which will assist those member states that may not have either the regulatory authority or the regulatory powers to monitor the economic development of the areas, and also to ensure compliance either by the airport or the airlines operating within the region. Next slide, please. So for BAC states, we think we have seen, both from the minister's remarks, from the DG's interventions, that the political will is there. And all we are saying here now is that the time to lead air transport liberalization by the BAC member states is now. We can lead by example by fast-tracking certain implementation. We can see from what we have presented so far some of the economic benefits which are essential for economic integration of trade, facilitation within the sub-region, and also we need to improve the regional connectivity and competitiveness of our sub-region. The time to act now, the time to act is now, as emphasized by my Secretary General. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That AFCAC position on SATAM. I gathered in that report, of course, obviously everybody heard, but I just want to sound it again. It's a sound bite that out of 247 million, only 600,000 people are traveling. And why? Because SATAM is restricted here. And this is the time, because of fragmented regulations by states, slow policies, framework that is all causing this to happen. This is the time that we must implement fully SATAM, which is very, very key for the development and for the upliftment of the BAC states. I can tell you, I'm sure most of you that came from your country here, you must have taken so many hours of flights. Some even had to fly to Europe to get here because of SATAM. I mean, SATAM was there, and we have airlines flying direct. It will have been a hop. I can tell you that I just came from Brazil the other day. To go to Brazil, some people had to go to Europe, some had to go to Doha, because there are no direct connectivity to Brazil. These are all what is being said here, you know. SATAM is what we want now. It is a welcome idea, and according to what I've also gathered here too, that the restrictions by countries for letting airlines fly into their countries should be looked into. But when we leave here and go back, we should look at our CAs and see what restrictions that have been given. I know a couple of airlines, this is the time to talk. I remember one time that Air Peace had some restrictions in trying to fly into some country that we had to intervene. This is the time for us to do what we have to do. If you have any contributions, please, let's have your contributions to this now. Thank you. No contributions from the airlines? Air Peace. It looks like everything is fine with you now. Okay, moving forward. Again, from the AFCAC Secretariat, that was a well laid out report, and we're looking into it for seamless collaboration and implementation. As you all can see from the Honorable Minister's speech, that he is ready to make sure that all this implementation, whatever restrictions that are coming from our own side, will be looked into. The Honorable Minister, all the BASAs and MASAs agreement that are being signed or to be signed, all looked into it. He's trying to encourage and making sure that we have seamless connectivity amongst member states so that these things can be seamless. Well, going further, I think we can take two. We can go up to the report and communique of the certain PIPS show held in Sierra Leone. We have the Director General Sierra Leone Aviation Authority to give us the report of the PIPS show held in Sierra Leone, please.
Mr. Chair, I'm sure I can read from here.
Yes, please.
Okay,
yes, please.
Thank you so much. This paper outlines the final communique of the Single African Air Transport Market Pilot Implementation Project, certain PIP, held in Freetown, Sierra Leone on 29th and 30th July 2024. The air show was hosted by the Honorable Minister of Transport and Aviation of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Ambassador Alhaji Fande Touré, and was aimed at accelerating the full implementation of the Yamoussoukro Division SATEM and promote the sustainable development of air transport among BAC states. At the end of this important event, a communique was issued calling for action in the BAC region for the accelerated implementation of YD SATEM, especially through the group's multilateral air service agreement, the MASA. The communique was signed by Minister of Transport and Aviation, the Republic of Sierra Leone, Head of BAC Secretariat, and the Secretary General of the African Civil Aviation Commission. Introduction. The SATEM PIP Air Show was organized by the African Civil Aviation Commission, AFCAC, on the 29th and 30th July 2024, with a view to highlighting the urgent need for BAC member states to fast-track the full implementation of air transport liberalization in line with the YD SATEM. The event was attended by the Honorable Chief Minister of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Honorable Ministers responsible for finance, internal affairs, tourism, trade, and foreign affairs. Also, in attendance were the Directors General of Civil Aviation Authorities or their representatives from the BAC member states, i.e. Cape Verde, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. Representatives of the African Union, AU, African Airlines Association, AFRA, International Air Transport Association, IATA, Airport Council International, ASI Africa, and the ASI Africa, and the SATEM Ambassador, West Africa region. The focus of the air show for the BAG state was to fast-track the full implementation of the Multilateral Air Services Agreement, MASA, signed by the member state in 2004, and to promote the harmonization of air transport policies and procedures, thereby fostering the sustainable development of international civil aviation. Background: it was recalled that the 65th and ordinary session of the Authority of Heads of State and Government of ECOWAS raised concern about the high cost of air travel in the ECOWAS region, which is seen as one of the highest on the continent, and the attendant impact on the development of tourism, trade, and the free movement of persons and services. The authority subsequently directed ministers responsible for civil aviation and civil aviation authorities of member states to work with the ECOWAS Commission to implement the ECOWAS Common Policy on aviation charges, taxes, and fees, with the aim of using air transport to expedite economic development and deepen the regional integration process. The meeting appreciated the numerous gains to be achieved by the group from fully implementing the YD SATEM, such as increased tourism, trade, employment, and integration and easy movement of people, goods, as well as the socio-economic transformation of not only the BAG member states, but the African continent at large, as Africa's aviation has the most potential for growth, being a comparatively young industry and servicing a large and rapidly developing population. Resolutions. The meeting urged for the full implementation of the BAG MASA, which already provides for unlimited market access up to fifth freedom rights and other air transport liberalization elements that are fully compatible with the provisions and obligations of the YD, and to continue to promote air transport as a facilitator to increase in tourism, trade, and create new opportunities within the bloc to accelerate economic growth and development. The meeting urged the member states to urgently, A, expedite the institutionalization of the BAG Secretariat, B, conclude the amendment of the BAG agreement to empower the Secretariat to effectively carry out its air transport functions, C, fully implement the BAG MASA, D, make the BAG air transport market a domestic market, and fully implement the YD SATEM. Action required. The plenary is invited to A, take note of the communique, B, endorse the resolutions in the communique, and C, encourage member states to fully implement the YD SATEM. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Lone. Thank you very much for that report and communique. It is well noted and well carried out. We will go to the next item, and that has to do with safety and security. I want contributions from the improvement of safety and security in the BAG region. And we have the Director of Transport, ECOWAS, to give us this report. It's not here. Is the rep of the director here, please? You can do it there if you want to. I'll let you do that. I'll let you do the wrap up. Let them know that they will do their presentation so that they'll be ready.
But if they are having a challenge, maybe we can do lunch and come back. Or if they are not ready, because the director is not here himself. So I don't know.
If we say we'll do lunch and come back, that means we're only going to do lunch and then come back and just
Do one.
do what?
Delay people. I think if we are able to do it now, it's better.
Yeah, let's just do it now.
It's much better.
I'll just do lunch and close for the day.
If not, we can squeeze them for tomorrow. If
Yeah,
they are not ready.
yeah.
Ok, merci. Bonjour tout le monde. Je vais faire l'exposé en français, mais nous projetons en anglais, quoi. Merci. C'est juste quelques contributions que la CEDEAO a fait dans le cadre de l'aviation et de la sûreté, quoi. Donc, c'est des contributions à l'amélioration de la sécurité aérienne dans la région CEDEAO. Donc, quand je parle de la région CEDEAO, on a aussi les 7 pays de Bagasso qui sont compris dans les 12 régions de la CEDEAO. Excusez-moi. Merci. Donc, pour cela, next step. Next slide. Yes. Pour cela, la CEDEAO a fait une analyse pour voir qu'au niveau de la région, nous avons noté qu'il y avait de nombreuses lacunes et systémiques dans les domaines de la réglementation, de la surveillance et des opérations au niveau de la région. Next slide, s'il vous plaît. Next slide. Yes, merci. Donc, l'analyse de cela avec les documents de l'OAC ont montré vraiment des lacunes persistantes et systémiques dans les domaines de la réglementation, de la surveillance et des opérations au niveau de la région CEDEAO. Donc, des défis ont été notés auxquels les États membres sont confrontés, notamment des législations inadéquates, des infrastructures insuffisantes ou inefficaces selon le cas, et souvent aussi des manques de ressources humaines. Cela a amené la CEDEAO à pris certaines mesures, notamment en adoptant un acte additionnel en 2012 sur les règles communes pour la sûreté de l'aviation civile dans les États membres de la CEDEAO, qui a été adopté par la conférence des chefs de gouvernement le 17 février 2012. Cela maintenant a amené maintenant à faire certaines révisions au niveau de cet acte additionnel en 2024, notamment au niveau de l'article 5, en fixant un règlement qui a été validé par les experts des États membres pour avoir des règles communes en matière de sûreté au niveau de la région CEDEAO. Next slide, s'il vous plaît. Et c'est ça qui a amené qu'au niveau de la région, on avait maintenant un nouveau règlement sur les mesures de sûreté en aviation. Ça, c'est un, je vais en revenir plus tard. Et aussi, parmi les mesures prises par la CEDEAO, il y avait aussi le projet PASTACO, qui était un projet régional financé par la Banque africaine de développement pour améliorer la sécurité et la sûreté de l'aviation et fournir des services de navigation aérienne sûrs et efficaces dans l'espace CEDEAO. Et c'est ça qui a amené que la CEDEAO a signé un accord avec la BAD. Et en signant cet accord avec la BAD, les objectifs étaient de renforcer les capacités de supervision et de sûreté des agences régionales de sécurité aérienne telles que Bagasso et UEMOA, AXAC de l'UEMOA. Il a aussi à veiller à ce que les principaux aéroports au niveau de la région CEDEAO soient mis aux normes internationales et avoir la certification, et aussi à renforcer les mécanismes de coordination en vue d'améliorer la sécurité, la sûreté et l'efficacité du transport aérien dans la région. Next slide, s'il vous plaît. Donc, l'objectif de ce projet PASTACO, il y avait 4 composantes, qui est le renforcement des capacités, je l'ai dit tantôt, telles que Bagasso, et aussi l'étude et soutien institutionnel pour le suivi et la coordination du programme de transport aérien, et le soutien à la certification et à la normalisation des aéroports et la coordination du projet. Dans le cadre maintenant de ce projet PASTACO, la CEDEAO a signé un accord technique avec Bagasso, et lors de cet accord technique, pour aider et renforcer les capacités de Bagasso et l'aider dans la mise en œuvre de son plan stratégique de développement. Cet accord technique qui a été signé avec Bagasso a permis de mettre dans un premier temps un premier décaissement de l'ordre de 600 000 US$. Et aujourd'hui, au moment où je vous en parle, ce premier décaissement a été utilisé par Bagasso à hauteur de 99%. Et nous sommes en train, la CEDEAO aussi est en train aujourd'hui de faire un deuxième accord avec Bagasso qui va permettre de faire un deuxième décaissement pour permettre à Bagasso de poursuivre la mise en œuvre de son plan stratégique. Toujours dans le cadre de ce projet PASTACO aussi, la CEDEAO a signé un accord avec l'OACI pour mettre en place 5 projets régionaux. Parmi ces 5 projets régionaux, je vais aller rapidement, il y a par exemple l'assistance à la mise en place d'un pôle régional AFSEC qui va aider les États membres de la CEDEAO à améliorer le niveau de sûreté. Il y a aussi l'assistance à la mise en œuvre d'un organisme enquête accident, parce qu'on s'est rendu compte qu'au niveau de la CEDEAO, il y avait un organisme d'enquête accident qui est seulement au niveau de la zone Bagasso, mais au niveau, si on prend toute la région CEDEAO, on n'a pas cet organisme d'enquête accident. Donc, on avait demandé à l'OACI de poursuivre cette étude pour voir comment on peut collaborer avec Bagaya pour mettre en place un organisme régional de l'enquête accident. Il y a aussi l'amélioration du programme de recherche sauvetage et aussi les revues APEX. Ça a été très bien avancé parce que ça a permis aujourd'hui à beaucoup d'aéroports de pouvoir avoir la certification. Il y avait au départ 20 aéroports qui étaient sélectionnés dans la région CEDEAO, y compris les États membres de Bagasso. Et parmi ces 20 aéroports, on peut dire aujourd'hui que la plupart de ces aéroports ont pu avoir leur certification à travers ce projet qu'on appelle Revue Apex. Il y a aussi la mise en place d'un plan d'investissement pour la modernisation des infrastructures aéroports. Ça, c'est en cours et on espère que dans le deuxième décaissement qu'on va faire avec la BAD, pouvoir aider les États membres. Next slide, s'il vous plaît. Next slide. Next slide. Maintenant, je reviens surtout sur le premier projet qu'on a signé avec l'OACI, qu'on appelle le règlement AFSEC. Là, la commission de la CEDEAO, avec ses États membres, en collaborant avec l'OACI, ont travaillé à l'élaboration de ce règlement régional. Ce règlement, qui établit un cadre réglementaire, permet aux pays membres d'assurer la sécurité des passagers, l'équipage du personnel au sol et du public en général dans tous les domaines liés à la protection contre les actes d'intervention illicites. Ce règlement régional et son cadre ont été validés par les experts des États membres en septembre 2024 et a été adopté par le Conseil des ministres de la CEDEAO en décembre 2024. Maintenant, il s'agira maintenant... Next slide, s'il vous plaît. Next slide. Next slide. Voilà. L'objectif principal de du présent règlement dont j'ai parlé est d'établir un cadre règlement permettant aux États membres de la CEDEAO d'assurer la sécurité des passagers, l'équipage du personnel au sol, en public et en général pour tout ce qui concerne la protection contre les actes d'intervention illicite. Ce présent règlement établit des mesures visant à empêcher que des armes, des explosifs et d'autres dispositifs dangereux pouvant être utilisés pour commettre un acte d'intervention illicite et dont le transport interdit soit introduit par quelque moyen que ce soit à l'intérieur des installations. Ce règlement qui a été mis en place, maintenant il s'agit pour la CEDEAO de mettre en place un pool d'experts AFSEC qui permettra maintenant de suivre, d'aller dans les États et d'essayer de les aider à améliorer le niveau de sécurité. La mise en place de ce pool AFSEC est en cours. Maintenant, nous sommes en train d'écrire aux États membres pour la nomination des experts qui vont constituer ce pool régional AFSEC. Il y aura aussi un comité consultatif qui va être mis en place qui va valider non seulement les activités de ce pool d'experts AFSEC qui vont aider les États membres, mais aussi qui va convoquer, il y aura les réunions et tout le programme d'activité. Donc, il y a aussi le calendrier annuel de ces activités qui va être validé par le comité consultatif. Aujourd'hui, l'État où nous sommes en train d'écrire aux États membres pour pouvoir avoir la nomination de ces experts qui vont constituer ce pool d'experts AFSEC. Au niveau de la CEDEAO aussi, nous avons mis en place une unité de coordination qui va coordonner les activités de ce pool. Et cette unité de coordination, il y aura le coordonnateur qui est un staff permanent au niveau de la CEDEAO, mais il sera aidé par 2 consultants AFSEC qui vont travailler avec lui pour vraiment la coordination des activités de ce pool AFSEC. Et on espère qu'avec ce pool AFSEC, nous pouvons pouvoir intervenir dans beaucoup d'États membres pour pouvoir les aider dans la mise en œuvre des aspects sûreté et sécurité au niveau des États membres. Je terminerai juste par la coopération qui va être faite avec l'OACI, avec Bagasso et avec la CAFAC et d'autres institutions de sûreté aérienne pour la mise en œuvre des activités du pool AFSEC. Parce qu'on pense qu'avec des organisations comme Bagasso, comme l'OACI, au niveau par exemple des programmes de formation, ils vont pouvoir nous apporter quelque chose. Donc il y aura une coopération qui va se faire avec l'OACI, Bagasso et la CAFAC dans le cadre de cela. Donc ça, c'est quelques initiatives que la CEDEAO a entreprises dans le cadre de la sécurité et de la sûreté aérienne dans la région CEDEAO, y compris les 7 États membres de Bagasso. Je vous remercie.
Thank you for that report from ECOWAS, the report for safety and security. As I have gathered, that ECOWAS has signed in an MOU with SDB for security and safety, and a lot has been put into place. A lot of monies have been expanded, and we expect that more will come out of it. I understand the Patasco project was implemented, and going forward is making sure that these things are done seamlessly. If there's any contributions to it, I know that every state is very, very concerned about safety and security within and outside their states. and I hope that we take it very seriously, as we do here in Nigeria. Safety is the paramount thing first, and that happens to go seamlessly. We're in an ecosystem whereby we must not, I repeat, we must not take safety as a plain thing. Is there any contributions to it before we go further? Any contributions? Okay, it's almost time for lunchtime, but before we do that, we're going to do a rapport, and I leave the DG to do a rapport on SATAM and implementation, as we just said. DG.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to use this opportunity to thank all our presenters from AFCAC and DG Sierra Leone, and indeed Director of Transport at ECOWAS. On the two presentations relating to SATIM, the actions required are noted, and BAC is committed to implement this from the implementation of SATIM itself and domestication of points within our BAC member states to ensure significant reduction in airport user charges. It's been mentioned that the travel population is still less than 1 million within our member states. Considering our population size of about 294 million, this is extremely low. We all agree that this air transport usage is inhibited in our region, mainly because of the high cost of tickets. And this is largely as a result of the high airport user charges we have within our various states. I think West is the second most expensive region in terms of airport user charges or air navigation user charges. And BAC as a group is committed to reverse this trend. Gambia and Senegal have signed a domestication policy agreement of the points between our two countries. Even though Senegal is not part of BAC, I think it's a good reference point for us to move forward. By signing this agreement, really, we'll effectively reduce the cost of air traffic between our 2 points within our two countries by up to 30 to 40%. And we are hopeful that if this is done, it will stimulate growth and we'll see more people using. It is estimated that with that reduction, initially we might see a jump of about 30% in the number of users of air travel. So this experience has been shared within our BAC group member states, and we are talking amongst ourselves to see how we can replicate this within the group to ensure that we make traveling more affordable for our population. On the contribution of improving safety and security in BAC states by Air Transport Director at ECOWAS, your information is noted, and we want to reassure you that BAC will continue to work with you to improve safety and security, both in the areas of capacity building, airport certification, standardization of airport management, project management, and supervision and monitoring of our air transport programs, and standardization of safety and security programs. These are all essential if we are going to continue to build on the gains we've made in areas of safety and security. We are grateful to ECOWAS really for the support that has been given the group all these years and continue to give to us. And just to reassure you that we'll continue to collaborate with you as we move forward. On that note, I want to thank everybody for their presence here today. It seems a bit dull in terms of interaction, but hopefully from day 2, we'll see more interaction between the participants and the presenters. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Like he rightly said, there are no interactions much today, and I don't know why everybody is quiet. I wanted 1 or 2 interactions or comments or contributions more, maybe because it's day 1. I'm sure by day 2. Oh, I now see a hand raised up. Okay, microphone, please. Yeah.
Good afternoon, DG. Good afternoon, all other DGs, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I have 1 or 2 observations to make regarding SATEM implementation. I think that BAG will encourage the total scrapping of BASA in the group. We can make a mini open skies agreement to implement SATEM within BAG. That will go a long way. And then at the regulatory level, certain requirements should be scrapped, such as some CAAs requiring the inspection of airline operators' bases before the issuance of foreign carrier operators permit, off-specs, that is foreign off-specs, or DACL, document of authorization and conditions and limitations and all that. These are hurdles that are not necessary if you want to implement SATEM. Payment of exorbitant fees should be reviewed to encourage entry of new players in the sub-region, to increase air travel, and grow the sub-regional economies. Thank you very much.
Now we're talking. That is what I want to hear. That is what I want to listen to. These are the, of course, restrictions that that are bounding and are making operators linger and not trying to operate into such places. And I'm sure if these hurdles are lifted or are removed, there will be seamless operation. I'm sure ticket prices will go down. From Nigeria, yes, please.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. My contribution really was generally going to be on the AFCAC presentation for the implementation of SATEM on in the back states. And I'm glad to inform us here that, you know, part of the crux of the liberalization of the bag is making, you know, it was initially the acceleration of the Yamoussoukro, but it's with SATEM right now, and it forms an integral part of the BAG agreement going to the ministers for approval. So if that is approved and we take off, the BAG will take off on that note, and there will be a lot more collaboration with AFCAC, and then we take it off from there. Also on the issue, the last speaker, Captain, okay, just made, just to emphasize that among the back states, it's not the BASA that is been, just if you saw the presentation again by AFCAC, it talked about the existing multilateral agreement. The idea, even before the setting up of the BAG, is, you know, to have a single airspace for the group. It's a group of like-minded persons coming together, and it is setting up a single airspace for the group. That is that existing mass of which AFCAC is encouraging states to implement. And I'm very sure that part of the outcomes that will come from this meeting, just like your intervention, it's something that will go a long way to help the group to move forward. On the issue of, on the other issues you raised, actually, there's an existing harmonization of, you know, the regulations, even the air transport regulations, and in the area of safety that is also addressing some of these things. Probably by and by, as the meeting progresses, all of this will come to forth. That the idea is actually to remove all these barriers, you know, among the airlines of member states, to make it a domestic air transport within the 7 member states. And that is why AFCAC is paying so much attention, because if BAG can take off on this note, it is easy to support other groups in the SATM to also take off along those lines. I'm very sure other colleagues may have more things they would want to, add or even in response or address the issues you raised. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. If there are no more contributions, I think we have now come to the end of this morning session as we hand over to the MC for one deliberation.
Please let's salute Mr. Chairman with another warm round of applause, dear delegates. Also, his co-pilot, the head of secretariat, the DG Gambia is here. Warm round of applause for them. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we're going to start for 9 a.m. We want to very kindly beg of us to be here for 9. As a former president of Nigeria will always say, he will say, please don't fear to talk and don't talk out of fear. Let's be able to compare notes very deeply tomorrow as it concerns our region. It's our plenary, and plenary is about sharing ideas, comparing notes, and having all of the delegates speak out their perspectives. And the majority will have their way, as the minorities will have their say, because we're building cohesion. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a far well-spent day, and at this time we may have to rise for lunch. Now, hear this. Lunch is upstairs, so you're going to go outside there, turn right, heading 090. Captain is Najomo is here, and when you do a heading 090, you go upstairs, and lunch is ready. You just need to go with your tags. In our usual way in Nigeria, we love to host people. So we're breaking officially from the technical session. If you want to look around town and know how Abuja looks like, you can bother me or the Director of Legal Services concerning any other thing you need to do informally. At this juncture, may we rise for the national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, please. So please, in our usual way, DG Nigeria will lead the other DGs for lunch, and the remaining delegates will follow them. Every other Nigerian delegate will allow our guests to go ahead of us in our usual way for lunch. The national anthem, please. Please mind your phones, mind your laptops, and your personals. Is he on cue? A lot of rehearsals is being done because the new national anthem, there is an old national anthem. So ironically, a lot of persons sing it very well if you are above 50, and the younger ones are trying to catch up with it. So if they don't join us in 3 minutes, after the count of 3, we may have to take the national.
Our own dear native land, though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation,
May Nigeria be blessed, West Africa be blessed, and Africa be blessed. Bon appetit.
So we can defect.